And we are go.
Hi,
Good morning,
Janet.
everybody. Hi, Jason. How are you this morning?
I am okay. I'm packing for Paris.
I
But
see. I'm puffy this morning too. What the hell? I'm ready for our Naked Astrology and Titillating Tarot meeting, and I'm also sporting my lucky leprechaun tie. And
I was feeling very Hugh Hefner, so I have my smoking jacket on.
I see that.
Very Playboy. In green chinoiserie. I love your shamrocks.
Love it. Yes.
We could have gotten pasties for you instead.
Okay. So I stole these from my husband this morning, who had on a green shirt. First of all, I got pinched this morning, and I'm like, what the F are you doing? Because it totally escaped me that today was the 17th. And he looked at me and he's like, it's the 17th of March. I went, oh.
Did he have a beer in his hand?
No, not this early in the morning. But
yeah, that's hardcore.
So he has this giant hat. He's the hat man. He has this giant hat that he is wearing today, as well as a vest. And so I stole the tie so that I could at least have something green on while we did our little chat this morning.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
This was a mistake.
It was an accident.
It just happens that my smoking jacket happens to be like a peacock green.
And you totally forgot it was Shamrock Day.
Sorry, I'm Greek. It's like, in this area, especially, New York City, the Hoboken. I mean, Hoboken even, we've talked about it on the radio, and there was that train crash. I mean, they even have their St. Pat's a week before because it's such a clusterfuck. It's just, I realized that nobody really knows who even St. Patrick's was. And I had an Irish friend who would bring me to the St. Patrick's Day parade. And when he first said that, I was like, oh my God, there's not enough drugs and alcohol to get me through. But I went, and so for all of you wonderful fetish people out there like myself, I went, and Janet, I was like, I don't care if you're straight or gay or up or down or left, all of these women and men in uniform, honey, some of these gorgeous men looking, just like, yes. And these women who take charge. Wearing their...
Why are they in uniform? This isn't a military holiday, is it?
I know. I thought it was going to be all about shillelaghs and what do you call it? What are they called?
Little green wee people. Leprechauns.
Yeah, leprechauns. I get there, and I guess every single facet of the military and of the police, the firemen are there to represent. Remember in New York City, police and firemen and ambulance, they were originally, they're all Irish working the beat, and so that's, so it trickled down, and, they have some politicians waving, and who the hell cares, but all of these men and women looking so sharp, representing our country so well, and just sexy as hell, like, oh my God. And then, of course, you get the gorgeous Irish men and Celtic-looking dudes playing the bagpipe in their skirts, and it is cold out there, so there's a bunch of testicubes happening. Testicubes.
Bunch of blue balls.
For any of you that listened into the show last night.
Radio show last night. So yesterday was the debut of Naked Astrology stripped down with Janet Hickox, and I think you had more fun with it than I did. I was really get some information out to people about the history of astrology, and you were like teasing me the whole way.
I had to. You left yourself open so many times. Also, because this is such a heady subject, I wanted to play dumb. Not that I'm dumb, but I wanted to play dumb so that the people listening, you get into some of that stuff, and I'm like, brain is leaking out of my ears. Like, what did she just say? Conjunct trine Uranus up here. I'm like, oh, I'm gone. I'm lost, But thank you for dumbing it down for us. Thank you.
We got into the Greeks. You should have been having some fun with that one.
Yeah, stripping it down, as it were. So why don't we turn it around? Since I started last week, why don't you tell everybody what's happening with you next week?
Well, me next week will be on a train. So we probably will do a replay of a show. I leave the train station at 5 p.m. Central Time, which is 3 p.m. Pacific Time. So I might be able to do a show, but I don't know, because I don't know how stable the internet connection might be on a train, or the cellular signal on the train.
What area in the United States are you going to be in? And can people get private readings from you? Will you have time for that?
I won't have time for that. I'm going to try to do, I have a couple of clients already set up that I if I can fit them in while I'm sitting in a hotel waiting for my daughter, we might be able to, but this isn't one of those kind of trips, pretty much. But if I can do a show, I will. If not, I'll put a replay up for people to hear. So this week, the focus is really all on you and Titillating Tarot, and you're going into a new card this week. So
I certainly am. And interestingly enough, yesterday while I was on the air, for all of you that don't know, Janet and I are double dongers. And now you might ask yourself, what does that mean? It means that when I'm live on the air, she is helping to produce my show in the background. And she, in fact, screens people for all the lunatics and, you know, keeps me on task. And then I do the same for her. I switch around and blah, blah, blah. Well, yesterday while I was behind the scenes, I got a wild hair up my ass, and I decided to pull an identifier card for you, Janet. Now, Scheisse. Yeah, me Scheisse. Me Scheisse again. Oh, yeah. And what's funny about that is, and you know, very often when I first start, yeah, surprise, bitch. When I first started doing human design videos for Janet, we tried out promos and stuff. I would very often get a rundown of what was happening human design wise from Janet ahead of time, like, hey, these are the heavy hitters, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I would pull cards and I'm like, you cannot make this shit up.
That's true. I've heard you say that so many times. So
I'm sitting there tootly, tootly, tootly in the background, drinking my espresso, you know, all out of my mind. And
that was the problem. I see.
Well, you know what the real problem was, but that's
we won't go there. We won't.
I won't go there. Let's just say I was all loosey goosey. So, hey, listen,
am I blushing? Oh my God.
A little dab will do you. You know, you just tap a little behind the ears. Anyway, so I was sitting there and I'm like, you know, if anybody who knows, I'm giving away one card. I'm giving away free readings, mini readings, as per my website. And let's get people to understand the websites. Mine is www.titillatingtarotwithjasonlivanis.com. You can go to the website, contact me, and I will do an identifier card, which is a card that lets you know from the major arcana, of which there are 21. It is the Genesis, and if anybody's been watching the show, we've started the 0 card, and now we are on the 12th card, the Hanged Man, which in my card looks like the Hung Man. But
the well-hung man.
Exactly. And so I decided while I was in the background to pull a card for Janet. And I swear, people, hand to God, my mother's soul, and my father's, that don't you know.
Look, can I guess? Can I guess? The Empress. The Hanged Man?
And you can your audience see that? Because I know that there's a Zoom thing.
Yeah, let me change the scene so they can see the card. Wow, that's not good.
Oh, see, there we go. This is why I love to demystify, and I love to educate on the air. You are, like many laymen, with no disrespect, madam, completely incorrect. It is the complete opposite of what people, they see it because they think of the Hanged Man.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. It's like the sky looks like it's about to open up and shoot him with lightning, and he looks like he's hanging above hell or a cavern or some sort of chasm that's going to swallow him. And
the hung man.
yeah. Yeah.
Now, look again. What does that look like above?
Like he's dangling out of heaven. Although there does look like there's
It's a mandala.
a mandala. Gotcha.
And he is hanging by one foot. He is making a cross or a 4 that we have seen before in the 4th card. He's hanging up above. And what do we see in the background? It's not some gates of hell. It is the tree of life. He's hanging from the tree of life. And out of his hands, what do you see in his hands?
Eyeballs.
Eyeballs. The all-seeing hand, eye of God. Now, if you look at his face, he is somewhat post-orgasmic. Everybody sees this and they think immediately of something negative. Well, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. So you might think to yourself, why in the hell would that be my identifier card? N'est-ce pas?
N'est-ce pas?
Okay. As we have discussed, all the cards build on each other.
Correct.
This is one of the most metaphysical, one of the most progressed, it is the most progressed to date spiritual card. I know, with those beautiful blue eyes looking upward, casting your gaze upward as if to say, what the fuck? Now, it would be one thing if he was hanging by the neck. However,
he would be choking.
He is not. The hand position is one of non-resistance. His countenance is pleasant. He dangles his foot over and he's hanging like an acrobat by this thread of life, which is an energy cord. Now, I will get into all of the details. Symbolically in the show this coming Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. your time. But the long and the short of it is that this card very much corresponds to chakras.
Oh.
In this, if you look at the original card, he's got the pillars of Solomon by where there's a plank across, and the tree has 6 branches that have been cut off. They're like knots. And there is a plank above the 7th. Now, what do we know about the different energy centers? There are how many?
7. There's 9 in human design, but that's a different story. The Hindu chakra system, basically 7.
Now, there are thousands all over the body, but the biggies are in alignment.
Right.
This card says you have mastered up to here, which, by the way, not so different than human design. I'm giving you my black girl neck, and for all of you that think I'm racist, screw you. This chakra in the Hindu and the Vedic understanding is called the, would you like to take a guess?
The eye of God, the third eye.
The ajna.
Oh, yeah. That would be true.
And what is it called, this head center in human design?
The ajna.
So, there is a correlation there. This ajna is where you have attained to now, lady. You've already woken up the one in your taint, the one in your gut, the one in your solar plexus, the one in your heart, the one in your throat, the one in your third eye psychicness, and now you're hanging from the 7th level. Many of the great mystics, by the by, if you do any true research, when they sit in meditation, when the yogis sit in meditation, very often they'll report feeling as if they were upside down in their meditation. This card represents you, lady, because you are, in fact, if you look at, I've watched you in the last 7-8 months. and arguably if anybody who knows anything about Janet or has been listening to the show, which they should be, that Janet has had some hiccups. Janet has had some really challenging motherfucking, like, what? There have been days when one thing happened, another thing happened, another thing happened, and she's like, hi, I don't drink, and I just going to go now and drink. And the arm, the hand, are you still in the view?
No, but I can go back there. There we go. We're in the view.
This is the card of I surrender.
Ah, yes. I can see that.
And you have the eyes of God in your hand. You have all of this spiritual stuff going on. The Hanged Man looks at the world in a different way. The Hanged Man is when he first, in all of the cards, regardless of how spiritual we've discussed, the Hanged Man is truly, it's the first day in with these teeth. The Hangman is truly the first metaphysician of the deck.
Uh-huh.
You know, the Magician in the first, and then the Seventh in the Chariot, and then all these others. Yes, they have metaphysical qualities, but they're not kind of in yet. They're not really here yet. They're outside of. They're dealing with going inwards. This is the first time after the Love and Strength and Power card where you figure, you know, look, you've already passed through that. You've already become the beautiful lioness, the beautiful sort of, where is Leo in your chart, by the way?
Second house.
Of?
Money, resources, earned income.
Wonderful. Spread some this way.
Bada, bada, bada.
Spread some this way. So, you've already attained that level. So here is your identifier card, lady. You now you realize that you don't have control. You have to give it up. You have to stay in your beautiful metaphysical way. This is the card of, believe it or not, the teacher.
Oh,
this is the card of somebody who's reached up to here. These are all functioning, all systems go. And now you're opening this top chakra. And you're doing it correctly. Because the problem is that a lot of people, like they go to the gym, they don't work out their core muscles first or all of the supportive muscles, and then what do? They work on the peacock muscles. You know, look at my guns, look at my buys, as opposed to saying, have you seen my erector spinae? No one looks at somebody's lower back and says, he's got a hot erector spinae.
Nope.
You might have a hot erector, but not a hot erector spinae. Why am I bringing this up? If you don't make those core muscles, if you don't make your wrist muscle nice and fucking fat, you can't lift heavy weights. And then what do? You end up hurting yourself.
Right.
One of the major things that I believe in, one of the pillars of my philosophy is that you don't just jump into the top 4 chakras. You do not just all of a sudden, I'm going to activate my heart, my throat, my... Because what will happen is a disturbance from the heart down. You will have crotch problems, knee problems. You will have gut problems. You will have all kinds of shit going because you haven't prepared those chakras. Just like this, just like the gym thing, you have spent a good deal of your life preparing those centers. Yes. Breathe it in, motherfucker. You have prepared this vessel, and even though it's not pleasant sometimes, and you can't believe the idiocy, the absolute idiocy going on around you, you are able to view the world in a different way.
Very true. That it's so interesting as when you pull the card back, you know, then I can see, and probably because you said it, I can see that it's the tree of life, where I didn't see that when I first looked at that card. Too close, right? Too close, pull it back, and I can see that there's a tree of life. And what have I been talking about, really, before you ever even thought to pull the card? That whole idea, that cosmology, that there's a tree of life, there's a reason for what's going on here, and that we can chart it from energy waves emitted from that tree of life. How fun.
And you, my dear teacher, You're tapped into all that. But this card is telling you, you must not resist. Here's the warning to the card. Do not, on any level, in any circumstance, the caveat to this is easier fucking said than done, but do not, on any level, allow your ego to get in the way. Do not allow the old modalities of how you've done things stop you, because now you are connected. You want to do something different? Fine. Tits to the wind, let's do it. You see, this is you right now. So I will get into more of the details on this card and what it means, some of the numerology on the show, and of course do mini readings. But I wanted to give people an idea out there of what an identifier card. You think, oh, it's just a 5-minute thing. Oh no, it's much more than that. This is where Janet's at. She is the teacher. She has all the chakras now. She's hanging upside down. She's viewing everything different. You're not normal. You're not the everyday. Sorry. Welcome to the club. Normal is boring. Normal is boring.
So let me just ask a real quick question then.
Yes.
Is this the level of conversation that you have with people around their identifier cards when they pull it?
Except I'm much more raunchy.
Oh, you're toning it down for me.
Because I have respect.
I'm sitting here with my...
Even though you called me blue balls yesterday on the radio, which made me laugh. I swear to God, I was out of control. So yeah, this is the kind of thing that I do. I will spend the time with the person to make them understand behind it. And I hope that everybody who watched this video saw, here's a lady, arguably well-versed in everything from human design, astrology, mythology, astronomy, numerology, theology, even some basic tarot and this and that, blah, blah, blah. You looked at it. What was your immediate thing? What?
No, I did not want to be the hanged man.
And that's why I do what I do, to shed light on this subject. You are really at a great place in your development. This is hardcore. So
thank you for demystifying for me.
Demystifying. For all of you who also do not know, I made reference, and so did Janet, about human design, and that there is these incredible correlations. Janet does an incredible thing called human design. You can get in touch with her at living-astrology.com, and you can go to her site, which is www.living-astrology.com. She's giving away a couple different kinds of chart readings, little teasers, but also she, besides doing the astrology, she happens to be my human design coach, and I highly recommend anybody who doesn't know anything about this to get in touch with her. It is an amalgamation of I Ching, of the chakra system, of astrology, of numerology, of it's brain frying. So for all of you who haven't done that yet, get in touch with Janet at those places.
Awesome. So then let me do you a favor and tell people how they can get a hold of you. You know, I said this yesterday on the radio, Jason, and you know this to be true, because I just don't reach out and ask people for readings, because I just never have. I almost felt like I should know better myself.
Yeah.
So I don't reach out for readings, but in the midst of this crazy crisis time that I was going through, I reached out to you, and you did a fabulous reading. And so I want people to know that even people like me who believe I'm in the know, who believe that I should be, you know, all inclusive and know everything, when I need to reach out, I reach out to Jason, because I was floored by what he shared with me and the depth to which he shares it. So please do yourself a favor, go to Jason's website, www.titillatingtarot.com. Get at least the identifier card done, and then set up yourself for a reading with Jason, because I know everybody out there is struggling. I wouldn't be struggling if there weren't other people out there struggling. We all live in this world together.
Right.
If you're struggling, if you have a challenge that you're facing, Don't waste time.
And here's a little tidbit for all of you out there who do not know. How Janet and I got hooked up was that I was going through a shit fuck time. And it was really a challenging, like, I'm losing my mind time. And I was given a reading by a good friend. She paid for it. And I got a reading by Janet. And at the end of the reading, because I had told Janet that I'd been doing tarot readings for a long time, I said, as a gift, may I give you a couple card pulls? And she was like, oh, okay, sure. She was feeling randy. So I gave her, and I'm not going to get into details with Janet's private life, but I gave her a rundown of a couple different questions because I do 3 card pulls. I don't do the 17. One is crossing you, one is up your ass, one is behind you, one is tickling your tits. No, I do 3 card pulls so that we can hit a lot of topics and give you a lot of information on that topic. So I gave her a reading, and then there was an ask. She was like, wow, pretty on. And then I gave her a reading on a subject. And I went down it, and there was this pause. And she went, gosh, Jason, you were so spot on about all of the other stuff, but holy shit, you really, really missed the mark on this subject. And I said, well, you know what, Janet? I calls them like I sees them. What can I tell you? So, folks, that reading was at a 1 o'clock her time. By the evening, 6 o'clock my time, I receive, I'll never forget this, I receive an email that title was, the subject line was, OM. He was like, you fucking warlock, you son of a bitch. No, not really those words. No. But she's like, I can't believe it. The situation that you were discussing came to a head immediately, exactly the way you said.
And it was happening at the time he's giving me the card reading, which was what was extraordinary about it.
So for all of you that do go to the website, my first testimonial is from Janet. And that's when she asked me to come on board, and I've been happy ever since. So I know this video has gone way too long, considering we haven't even touched. I am looking forward to next week's show. Yay. I do, of course, Janet, safe travel. Don't strangle anyone.
I won't. I promise.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity and this platform. And happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, too. And to all of you viewers, thank you very much for tuning in to our little promo videos. Thank you for tuning into our radio shows, Titillating Tarot, on Wednesday evenings, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and Living Astrology Radio, where Naked Astrology with Stripped Down with Janet Hickox is a segment on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Jason, thank you so much for doing the identifier card with me. I was really shocked, surprised, and pleased to hear that in the end. It was very good.
It's excellent.
And yeah, it was excellent. So thank you, everybody. Have a stellar week. We'll be back with you next Friday. Bye for now.